Hey folks, it is the Nutty Knife Guy, the 500 episode, 500 subscriber giveaway celebration. Woohoo! I did a preview of this last week. For those of you who, not last week. I can't speak today. I'm not thinking correctly. But I did a video last night, preview, about the GCX, GSC, I have forgotten. This morning's been manic, and I was wondering if I was even going to get to do this video, so I am a bit scatterbrained, so I'm going to look at the box here. The GCS 15, and here it comes, folks. Here comes my air quote word, tactical knife. Now, they put every descriptor in the world on the Amazon page that I bought this from. It's, a hunting knife, it's a tactical knife, it's a this knife, it's a that knife. It is a beautiful piece of work. Bone handled, I believe, Packwood scales. D2 steel, 10-inch overall length with a 5-inch blade, and the blade is 4.2 millimeters thick, and it has a very nice, got a little piece of leather from the sheath off of there, distilled taper, which I don't know if you can see. So, looking at it, first impressions. Feels great, handles great. The bone handle does seem to be from the same piece of bone as do what I believe to be our Packwood bolsters. Same piece of wood, same pattern that continues throughout. Fit and finish are excellent. I mentioned last night that they use multiple small pins instead of a few large pins. I like that better. I think it looks better, and I think it's more secure in the long run because any stress is distributed over a wider area instead of on one point. And the fit and finish are good. You pretty much can't feel where the scales join to the tang. You can just barely feel, if you really try, to feel the pins because they are ground flush to the scales without damaging the scales. So this is really a beautiful piece of work, and I really don't anticipate a problem with the war post, but one never knows. I'm really hoping not to scratch this thing when I go through the water bottle because that does scratch blades. That plastic does scratch blades. But I don't think this is going to be. This isn't a mirror polish, but it is very nicely polished, and there are no tool marks. Now, I could not find a specific video, and there's no videos that I can find on YouTube talking about this particular brand of GCS knife, this particular type. So I can't find the video that I'm thinking of. But there's one video that mentioned that these are kind of semi-handmade. They do a factory, but the finishing work is done by hand. So the final grinding and the polishing and things like that, I think, is done by hand. And if I might be remembering that wrong, this is not like written in stone truth. But I think that's the case. I believe that's the case. And looking at that, I can really believe this is the case. Now, I also mentioned last night that this blade has just a teeny tiny bit of belly that I don't even know if you're going to be able to discern. I do not know if the winner's knife, which is in this unopened box, I do not know if the winner's knife will have such a belly. I can't tell from the pictures online whether it does or it doesn't, because if it does have a belly, it's so subtle. It will not affect the function of the knife in any case. But this does look like somebody that knew what they were doing really took their time and had did the finishing work by hand and took pride in their work. I'm not going to say that this looks like a completely hand-done knife, a handmade knife, but I will say this is probably done, the finishing is done by hand. Another thing, I believe, I wish I could find the video. I'm going to continue to look for it, and I will do an update, probably post it on the Facebook page and my community page whenever Facebook enables that, which should happen any day now since I've cleared 500 subscribers. And I'll post an update if I find it. Now, like I said, they have tactical on the YouTube. Oh, by the way, as near as I can tell, these are made in the United States. I saw some places where said that these are made in Pakistan. GCS Custom Knives, that's the actual name of the company, does have a pretty good looking professionally done website of its own. It doesn't just sell from Amazon. Most of the Pakistani knives can't say that, most of them. And their website claims that their knives are 100% made in the United States. And I'm going to take them for the word on that. It doesn't say it's from Pakistan anywhere on the box. It's not branded Pakistan anywhere on the blade. The only markings on the blade are the GCS logo, which appears to be laser etched. So there's that. This, to me, again, is a fighting blade, but it is of a design and of a shape that would make it a nice camp knife, a nice little trail knife, even a light bushcrafting knife. It does have, like I said, it's a 4.2 millimeter thick blade, which is not really, really thick, but this is not going to be a chopper, but it is certainly thick enough to take almost any field use. Even if you commit the cardinal sin of knife guys, just didn't try prying with it. So, and as I said, it handles beautifully. It just feels great. When I was picking this out for the giveaway, I wanted something beautiful. I wanted something that could be used, and I like to find things that are unique for my giveaways. And just by having bone handles and wooden handles, it kind of makes this knife one of a kind, and it's going to make the winner's knife one of a kind because there's not going to be two sets of bone that are exactly the same. So I think this will be pleased. I'm really jonesing to get out there to the war post with it. But one thing I wanted to show you guys about GCS knives, and I really do want to get out there with the war post, and I'm really interested in getting other of their stuff. I don't usually do this, but I kept all of the box and the wrapping paper to show you because it came wrapped in plastic. The sheath came wrapped in plastic. It was wrapped in bubble wrap, and the whole thing was wrapped in this piece of packing paper in a very, very sturdy box, to the point where all I'm going to do when I ship out the winner's knife is wrap it in brown paper and take it up to the post office to get weighed and sent off. I'm not going to put any more packing material in it because this thing was very well packed. Okay, now the winner is going to get, well, from what I can see so far, a very, very excellent knife. But I do have to tell you about the sheath. And the best way I could describe the sheath is adequate. It's not junk. It is adequate. But the problem is, when I first look at the knife and see all the attention to detail and the fine workmanship on the knife, I thought, well, the sheath is going to be like that too, and it really isn't. Now, on first inspection, it's a great looking sheath. It's got nice smooth leather. It is well constructed. I would personally like the leather a little thicker, but I'll give you an idea of how thick it is. But I understand that adds more weight and bulk. That's just a personal preference. Now, On the Amazon ad, it had a loop here for a ferrule rod that this one doesn't have. On the back, it does have a thing where you can add a tie down. The tie down does not come with it. It is, at first I thought this was going to be a friction hold sheath, but it's not. What happens is the knife goes way down in, so half of the handle is in the sheath, and then you wrap this around and it's got the two snaps, and the guard of the knife is right here, so the, you know, and well, at least when I first got it, it really is not going anywhere. But I have been really working on getting this thing worked out, but it's secure enough. It's not going anywhere. And I actually, if it comes out like this without having to undo a snap, that's a good thing for me. I only got this yesterday, and the sheath is breaking in. I stored the knife in the sheath overnight. I don't generally do that, and I have been pulling it in and out. So I like the fact that it will come out with a tug like this. But, you know, I'm shaking it up and down. And it's not really going that way. It's moving a little bit, but it's not going to fall out of the sheath. So that's good. Now this sheath was really tight. It loosened up pretty quick. But the belt loop is folded over, and if you have a really thick belt, it's going to be a little tight to get in there. But also, look what it's folded over, and the back of the loop is not finished, in my opinion. It's still raw leather, and so is the inside. Now that's not a big problem, really. But since I put it in the sheath, when I do, like especially with leather sheaths, when I store knives in the sheath, light coat of oil, you know, that's common practice to keep the tanning chemicals used to tan the leather in place. I mean, from destroying the blade. And when I've been doing that, every time I do that, there's little bits of leather sticking to the oil, sticking in the oil. For a knife that somebody took this much trouble to make nearly perfect in fit and finish, I wanted the same thing from the sheath, and you really don't get it. This sheath will work, and it will probably last. Now, it's not going to stay pretty. 15 minutes into the field, this is probably going to be scratched up and dinged up, but that's just leather. That's just something you live with leather sheath. And it's the same thing with this handle. If you really carry this and you take it out into the bush, it's going to get scratched up. It's not going to stay this pretty. The thing of it is, I like this knife so much, I do want to carry it, so I don't know if mine's going to stay pretty for long. But I do like the fact, I really do like the fact, that like I said, it's not going anywhere. I'm going to hold it by the tip and make sure, just for my own. It's not going anywhere if you jiggle it, but if you do grab hold of it, it will come out without having to mess with the snap. It wasn't like that when I first got it, but I was really trying to get it to do that, to get it that way, where it would stay put unless I drew it. Because if I do decide to carry this, and I may, because I really like the way this works, it's not going to stay pretty for very long. That's the only problem. I might have to get another one for the collection. I think Amazon says they only have 23 of these left. And they're no longer listed on the GCS website themselves. That same video that I saw about GCS knives, and I can't remember where it is. I cannot find it anymore. But they make very limited production runs, a few hundred of different kind of a specific design, and then they move on to something else. So that kind of makes it collectible, is that there's not too many out there, which is another reason I picked this for the giveaway. Now these straps, you do come off. You can carry horizontally, or you can carry it vertically. And I imagine you could use these to like jury rig a molly thing. So, like I said, the sheath is not bad, but it's not worthy of a knife that's this good. That's what I basically it. The craftsmanship of the sheath, I just wish it would match the craftsmanship of the knife. Okay, real quick, we're going to see if I can get this camera adjusted. My new camera mount does not lend itself well to tilting downward. So we're going to do the balance test and hope that I can get the camera so you can see it decently. Because I'm going to have to kind of hold the camera in my hand and drop things with my left hand. Maybe I ought to do this the other way. Hold the camera with my left hand, drop the knife with my right hand. Okay, let's get to the rat killing. We have a hostile water bottle. Oh, by the way, this thing did come very, very sharp. I don't know if you'll be able to see it out here. But it's taking hairs off my arm, no problem at all. I have no idea whether you can see that or not because the sun is on my teeny tiny little screen. Okay, straight through, no problem. Okay, that second one went almost completely through the handle and bounced off of here and penetrated the handle again, but glanced off because the handle took all the force. Let me show you those. Okay, there's the first one, which started at the top and exited here. The second one went straight through the handle, which of course is reinforced and thicker. And then the third one went through the handle, but that took most of the force away from this one and I just got a scratch. But that's a short blade, so I'm pretty happy with that. And for the pièce de résistance, it must face the post. And I know I just stepped in front of the camera for that, but part of that. But I try to use the footwork as I do this as a matter of personal practice. Okay. This is not, I mean it bites, but it's not the best piercer in the world. The tip is rather thick, but it's not breaking or bending. Yeah, I'm doing things to this giveaway knife that I don't do the normal knives, just so people know what they're getting and what kind of a fantastic knife guy I am on YouTube. I'm just fantastic, am I not? Okay, some good hard swings. Okay, I'm going to turn that around and hope you can see it. That cut went a good quarter of an inch into this hardwood post. Now that was for chopping motions here, not just slashing through, which puts a lot more pressure on the blade. and I will show ye. Pristine, no scratches on the blade from any of that. And look, and maybe in the sunlight, you can see. I guess you can call that a satin finish, but it would not take much to butt that into a mirror finish if that was your thing. I'm not into mirror finishing, but look at the finish on this blade. And this is not a cheap blade. Some would even call this a budget blade. But USA made. I'm going to take them at their word. The knife itself is incredible. Definitely want to get some more GCS stuff. And we will go down and do a quick wrap up. And I will give you the whys and wherefores of the contest. Something stuck on the lens there. Okay, you saw it. It had passed the war post with flying colors. I love this knife, and I know that whoever wins the one in that unopened box sitting there will love that one. Now, there is a double sitting right here. You don't see him, but he's there and he's whispering in my ear. Keep the other knife too. Think of what a great matched pair you would have. I'm not going to do that. There, he's gone now. But this thing is amazing. And I'm going to have to really think about adding this to my everyday carry rotation. Even though the sheath is broken in to where I can draw it quickly, it does go halfway into the sheath. The handle does go halfway into the sheath, which means on the draw stroke I'm only getting with 2 fingers. That's really not good for defensive use. And also just getting this scratched up and beat up, and it's so pretty. And I am a collector after all. But you could. This would serve you well as a personal protection knife if you didn't mind getting it beat up. Now, if you live out west where it's okay to wear cowboy boots and you can rock cowboy boots, get a boot sheath for this thing, and this would make a really excellent boot knife. With cowboy boots, you can have your pant leg down over the knife, or even regular boots, I suppose, but the cowboy boots are big enough where this would be home, and it would protect the knife and not get it messed up. It's making a really excellent boot knife. I don't do boot knives. I never cared much for wearing a knife on my boot, but if you do, get the right sheath for it, and this would be fantastic. The only gripe I have about the knife is the sheath. There is nothing wrong with this knife at all. It does exactly what it's intended to do. As a personal protection knife for me, although I love the bone and wood handles, hands with it's going to get slippery. Again, it's not as damage resistant. This might kind of go into an occasional carry. When I really feel like carrying something fancy. If I'm ever going into an environment where there might be people, like if I go to a knife show, I might wear this. Hey, what's that on you? And we can have a nice conversation about knives. This is kind of my fancy occasion carrying. You know, like if I ever go to a funeral where of a brother of a blade. Here's a fantasy scenario for you. There's a funeral of a brother of a blade, and I'm wearing a suit, and I carry this openly with my suit. I'm trying to figure out reasons to carry this, and environments I can carry without making it messed up. That's basically what I'm saying. My only complaint is the sheath, and the sheath is good. If this knife wasn't so excellent, then the mediocrity of the sheath wouldn't be so obvious. But because the knife is fantastic and the sheath is mediocre, mediocre seems worse. That's the best I could say it. If they would have just taken more time really finish the sheath. I would like this leather to be a little thicker. And also, if you're going to call this a tactical knife, and they do call it a tactical knife on Amazon, I would prefer one centralized snap here, rather than two snaps here on the front strap. Now, even though, as I said, now that the sheath has been worked a little bit, okay, a lot. I played with this a lot after I got it last night. Let me get this. That the knife will, I think, go in and out without having to undo the straps. Yes. And it's still very secure. It's snug. It's not going to fall out. I would prefer just having a single thumb break instead of having to deal with two snaps. And I would rather have an actual retention strap going over the guard rather than only being able to get two fingers on for the draw and then having to get a better grip. Like I said, they're practicing at a tactical knife, and let's face it, if it's a tactical knife, it has to be a fighting knife too. Okay? Tactical is kind of a catch-all term. When they put it on there, it's for marketing. They don't understand what tactical means. Tactical means it's something you could be fighting with. It's a tactical knife. You're in a tactical situation. You're breaching a building. There are bad guys in there. You might be using that knife. You might wind up using a knife to pry open a window, to jimmy a door. Ask the guys in the military about some of their, I believe it was the M249, the saw, and how it tended to jam, and you wound up taking a knife and prying the spent shell casing out of there. I had a buddy that was telling me about that. He hated the M249 because of that. But also, you're in the middle of breaching using that knife to clear a jam, to cut a piece of your molly that got caught on a piece of exposed rebar, whatever. You're using a knife for something else, or you wind up close quarters with a bad guy. Your tactical knife becomes a fighting knife. So you really need, when it comes out of there, it needs to be in a fighting grip. But I know I've been ragging on the sheath. The sheath is well constructed. It does look very good, and the parts of it that show are very nicely finished. The problem is they didn't go in and really finish the parts that don't show. And with a knife that had this much attention to detail, that really makes the lack of such attention on the sheath glaring. But that's all I have now on the knife. Now, when it comes to the contest, as in previous contest, I will be giving away a signed copy of a book, my self-authored book, Fireteam Alpha, Fate of Nations, the Fate of Nations, Fireteam Alpha Book 1. Oh, and D-Bad, Donnie B. All Day. I know I promised you a signed copy months ago, but when I started looking for the books, for these books, to do the giveaway, I forgot about that until I saw the books, and I said, yeah, that one was supposed to go to Donnie a long time ago. So when I get a contest winner, I will be sending your book out. Now, these are the last two promotional copies I have. So, and I'm not going to be, I don't think I'm going to be doing another giveaway until around 800. I might even wait till I hit 1,000. Anyway, you'll be getting the knife and a signed copy of the book. And you must answer a question. In the comments for this video, you must tell me what future year that the story for Fate of Nations, Fireteam Alpha Book 1 is set in. I will put little crawlers up telling you what it is, and it'll be in the video. But the answer is 2104. right? So you have to tell me that the story for this book is 72104. You must be subscribed, and you must put the answer to that in a comment for this video. And I do have to make this continental United States only. I have viewers in Canada, I have viewers in Germany, I think I have a viewer, I have a viewer in Finland. I do have viewers from all over the world. Well, not all over the world, but many parts of the world. I just cannot afford the shipping to a lot of the countries, especially the countries that have really harsh knife laws. There's a lot. They charge a lot of fees for importing. Some of them do charge a lot of fees for importing knives, and then there's no guarantee that they're actually even let the knife into the country. So shipping to Hawaii and Alaska, just more expensive than I can handle. Being a published author, I am a published author, but I am not J.K. Rowling's. I am not J.R.R. Martin. Okay. I have to do other things to earn my money other than writing. So there's that. Continental United States only. I'm sorry. I wish I could. I wish I didn't have to be that way, but I do. So 2104 is the answer to the question. I need that answer in the comments to this video, and I will pick a winner next week. So next Sunday, and I'm not sure what date that is, but I'm not sure what date it is today, actually. But 7 days from the recording of this video, I will pick a winner. But answer the question and be a subscriber in the continental United States, and I'll pick a winner. Like before, I'm going to use a random number generator. I'm going to count down the comments that fulfill the criteria for winning. The first one that I come to that matches the number and has the right answer to that question gets the blade and the book also. And then when I pick a winner, I will write whatever sentiment on the back of the book that you wish in barely legible handwriting. With that, I will leave you with my usual admonishment too. Draw your knives only in just purpose. Sheathe them only with honor. And remember that without knives, life would be dull and pointless. Please like, share, and subscribe if you have a mind to. I don't think I'm going to be doing a giveaway when I hit 600, but you never know. I am the nutty knife guy. That kind of means I'm mercurial and unpredictable. We shall see. And I do want to thank everybody that's gotten me here. I owe huge amount of credit for the success of this channel to Donnie B. All Day. I will get your book out. I just forgot. I'm sorry. And Scab also, a lot of people came by and told me that you sent them. And then Donathan too, I think you might have been my first subscriber. It's very possible you might have been my first subscriber. Tom Ritter, we've been corresponding. There's just a lot of everybody that's subscribed, everybody that's commented and liked. Can't thank you enough. We're going to get to 1,000. It would be really, really cool if we were at 1,000 this time next year. It would be even cooler if, say, February. Well, wait a second. Like I said, I don't have a calendar. But, okay, we're approaching August. I think this is the 31st, is it not? So we're coming up on August. So maybe by the first, if I could get to 1,000 by the first of the year, imagine that. I would be so happy. It's hard to tell how much money I'd spend on a giveaway. But anyway, of course, that would depend on current financial conditions, wouldn't it? I will leave you with that. I have given you my admonishment. I have given you the rules for the contest. look for my community page to be active soon. According to the frequently asked questions on YouTube, after you hit 500 subscribers, it takes them about a week to get my community page up. I'm going to try to be very active on that once it's ready. And with that, I bid you goodbye.